Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is April 23rd, 2021. And today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin tumbling below 50K. But first, looking at the major economic events of the day out of the European Union, we've got a bunch of numbers coming out starting at 9:15 South African time. French Flash Services PMI numbers coming out. And then at 9:30 out of Germany, both a Flash Manufacturing and Flash Services PMI numbers coming out. So lots of numbers coming out of the European Union. But looking at the various markets, starting out with the currencies, we're watching the currencies actually taper off on lower volume as we're watching the indices, the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones both sell off again, okay, as a retracement is looking more common. Now looking at commodities, gold holding its gain where oil bounces, and the stocks, it was pretty much a sell-off across the board. Lastly, looking at crypto, of course, Bitcoin tumbling. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're looking at the Aussie dollar. And first, starting out with the Aussie dollar, just to give us perspective here, okay? This is really just a very tight range that we're trading in right now. 77.31 from 77.12. That's not much of a range. But just to give you perspective, jumping into the euro, I mean, we're right there at 120.24, okay, at that 120-ish line. I mean, pretty much unchanged since we had that breakout. And lastly, looking at the GBP, we are retracing here at this 138.60, but smack in the middle, okay? Because if you look at the two intervals between 140 and 136.50, we're right there in the middle. So really not much going on with the currencies right now. But jumping to commodities, let's take a look at gold first, okay? Gold consolidated at this 1795-ish level after a very decent run over the past month. And now we're at that point where we're looking like we're consolidating in this area where we're going to be trading sideways for a while. Now for the interim, okay, 1779 is your bottom and 1795 is your top, and we're right there, right smack in the middle. So it's a really hard trade to come up with, you know, to jump into this in either direction because we're not at either extremity, okay? So nothing really jumping out here either. Now looking at oil also, we've been tracing between these two areas, 64.51 and 58.68. After tumbling this past week, we're looking like we're finally bouncing, okay, which is a really good sign. I mean, all intents and purposely, I mean, from the beginning of March to now, we've gotten much stronger in the price of oil with the anticipation that the markets are going to be opening up comes May, June, July. And by August, I'm hoping that the vaccinations will be rolled out across the board and that we will be coming back to somewhat normalcy pre-COVID, pre-corona days, okay, if we could actually look that far. Now jumping into the indices, all right, first looking at the Dow. Okay, the Dow tumbled at this area. Every time it hit this 34,050, retracing significantly all the way down to 33,599. Now this is on the back of supposedly and the reason I say supposedly is because everybody knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time that Biden had increased taxes, but it's not going to be affecting the majority of the general public, okay? It's going to be hitting some of the super wealthy, super rich community in the United States. So, you know, all intents and purpose, you know, the funds are still there, okay? The middle income families are not going to be affected by it tremendously, okay? Which compensates for some of the majority of the people who are actually participating in investing in the markets. Now looking at the Nasdaq also, kind of same kind of look here where we hit this 14,000 and not breaking out higher. This could be a point of retracement for us as we're going into May, okay? Both cyclically and both because, you know, things are at their top at this range. We may see this actual further sell-off as we go into May. Now, looking at the individual stocks, Apple sold off decently, about $1.50. Alcoa sold decently. JP Morgan, okay, started dipping below that 150-ish level. Okay, that's an important level. Facebook continued its tumble. Okay, this was weak yesterday even, so this is continuously weak. I do expect a bounce at a certain point here as this retracements continue. Now looking at Amazon also down through the day and Microsoft also. Okay, so there's nothing that held up the markets yesterday in order for us to say, okay, this is just maybe a cyclical thing. This may be the beginning of some sort of correctional move in the markets. Now, I'm not celebrating that too early, but just be aware of it, okay? Keep that in the back of your head. Lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin, okay? And look at this tumble below 50K for the first time, 49,180. Couldn't sustain itself yesterday, and we mentioned this yesterday that it was consolidating within this area. It's really hard to play this type of trade where you're in between two extremities, okay? When you're smack in the middle, it's a little bit hard, but once the breakout happened, you see that the breakout happened with increased volume. That's kind of a telltale sign that we may even break out lower. Okay, so we're at that stage. Next real support is 46,778. Now, all intents and purposes, I mean, you know, this is to be expected to a certain degree. I mean, we've gone up on a weekly chart from the beginning of the year up until here about $50,000 per Bitcoin. Okay, so we started out at the beginning of the year with 8,000, and now we're at 60. We went as far as 61,000, and we're trading right now at 49,000. So, you know, with all intents and purposes, they could still retrace as we go into this momentum move, and the real next support is 46,500. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we made that double top at 61,100, 150-ish level. Okay, so with that said, just expect volatility to continue with Bitcoin. Okay, it's kind of the nature of the beast, and just make sure to have stop losses. Have to be regulated, your trading has to be regulated when you're trading these type of stocks. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day and a beautiful weekend. Thank you.